enterprise. We give you what you need to know, what you need to watch your earnings grow. You can reach your record highs with the business enterprise.
You're listening to Enterprise on Blog Talk Radio with your host, Erica Collins.
Welcome to America's Enterprise. I'm your host, Erica Collins, and we're here at the 18th Annual Rainbow Push Coalition Wall Street Project Economic Summit in New York City, Times Square. Hi, I'm here with Gerald Rogers, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his company.
Yeah, hey folks, once again, thank you for the opportunity. Gerald E. Rogers here, Grip Media Publishing, Grip Holdings. And after becoming an athlete and not really making it to that pinnacle of success from an NFL professional standpoint, we took that same energy and built our business model where it has allowed us to have multiple companies in real estate. We have our own publishing company, our own publishing arm, our media arm as well. And then also, too, ultimately, economic empowerment, being able to deliver information, transfer skill sets, and empower other individuals. Because, our philosophy is if we can't give it away, we don't have a need for us, and that's really who we are. Success on God's terms in publication, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million. So we just want to empower people.
Thank you so much for talking to us today.
And transition, who has had an experienced life working with teams around this metroplex, including the former New Jersey Nets, and now part of many of the NFL initiatives around women's issues. We thank her for being on the panel. Give it up for Miss Dana London. Next, my friends, we have to her left the professional success coach, co-author of Success on God's Terms. Give it up for Mr. Carlton Gambrell. Another amazing genius of a businessman who is investing his gifts as the founder and chairman of MCAM Corporation. Can you hear in this room? Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear it? I want to hear the loudest cheer you can do. Y'all got to get better. You got but two left. Let's hear it for Mr. David E. Martin. It's almost there. It's almost there. Almost there. Current NFL All-Pro defensive genius, maximizing his gifts not only on the field but off the field. You all need to give it up for this man because he's truly still playing while the cheering is going on. I need to hear you tonight, New York. Let's hear it from Mr. Lamar Woodley.
My name is Anthony Simmons. I'm a retired former NFL ball player from San Diego Chargers, Dallas Cowboys, and Buffalo Bills. I played 7 years in the league, and what happened was, it's a lot of things that go on with professional athletes. 82% of NFL ball players went broke 2 years after they retired. I don't know if you guys know the percentages of that. I may be a little higher, a little lower, but it's there. So I started a company called Pro Athlete Business Group to give back and empower and educate professional athletes. We started with just 12 guys in one room, and this is back in 2009. Just to make a long story short, now my business has grown to over 300 professional athletes in the room who want to come and listen to the different opportunities for them and their families. Now what we do at Pro Athlete Business Group, because of athletes are, I was once an athlete. Somebody asked me to come to a golf tournament, I'm not going to come unless they're going to pay me, number one. So they're not going to come to my event unless I'm taking care of them. So what we do is we fly all our athletes in to the event, and the athletes that come to our event have to bring their significant other to the event so we can make it a family environment. We bring in 25 different companies to exhibit and present to these professional athletes. Within the last 2 years, we opened our doors up to NBA, track and field, WNBA, even actors and entertainers, giving them opportunities. Those actors and entertainers are in the same boat as athletes because they can stop making a record, they can stop making a movie, and where's their money coming from? It's not going to come in. Us as athletes, we think we're going to play forever and ever. I thought I'd play forever and ever. I became a product of the environment my first year in the league. I spent every dime that I had my first years in the league. Back when I played, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now they're making millions of dollars. So people look at that, well, that wasn't a whole lot of money. Well, yes, it was. Well, my first year in the league, when I spent all the money, I had to go to a coach because I went to my agent and asked him, can I borrow $7,000 just to make it for 2 months before I went to camp? Not knowing that I'm going to make the team the next year. You know, politics could have set in, injury, or just get traded to another team. I was one of the guys who was considered fortunate to make it to play the few years that I played. Well, my agent didn't want to loan me the money, so therefore he didn't believe in me, so naturally, you know what I did, I fired him. So I went to my coach, a position coach, which is unheard of a coach going to loan a player some money so he can make it until he go to the next season. Well, I borrowed that $7,000 from that coach. He rolled my ass like white on rice in camp to make sure I made that team, which I did legitimately, which I did make the team because I was hungry. You know, I wanted to play. No matter how big, how strong I was, you know, it's always going to set in a fact where a player can not make the team the next year. So I was one of the fortunate ones. So at my event, we bring in speakers. We bring in guys to encourage the guys, to empower them, to help them out on life after the game.
Excellent, excellent. That's really important. You know, you've been retired for a little while, even though I've heard a lot of people say they saw you walking through the building today, and you look like you still get them down the court and take it to the hole. And I know that you had a great career, and now you've got a different path that you've already begun to carve. Talk a little bit about how you've transitioned so well from being a success on the court, now being a success in the businesses that you're beginning to do and have done and have more to come.
Well, transitioning was a big key for me. Had an opportunity to play 16 years in the NBA, and you know, during that journey, saw a lot, experienced a lot, and developed a company while I was still playing, which is Pro Player Holdings. Pro Player Holdings is built for athletes, entertainers, in all aspects of their careers, doing, you know, post, pre, current, whatever you have. In a nutshell, what we basically do is help provide structure. And in saying that, you know, for me, we started at the financial, you know, realm. We tried to put together a bank, sports entertainment bank in early 2000, and that got wiped out by Katrina. It's a bank in New Orleans, and you know, we figured that we had to have some type of financial platform. And just along those journeys from the bank, went into the brokerage world, got connected, not with the right people. And, you know, our whole concept of if you look back at sports, we're kind of like a product of the industry, and we don't control the product or the distribution. And what we were trying to do is, how can we connect those dots, which if I'm an athlete playing and a kid wants to buy my shoes or buy a product, and why can't we take that same concept and put it into something more meaningful that can trickle back to the communities?
Hi, we're here at the Wall Street Project Economic Summit, and I'm here with Dale Davis. Can you please tell us a little bit about your company?
Well, a little bit about Pro Player Holdings. It's a company that, you know, we've been building for the last decade. And basically what it does, it's a one-stop shop for athletes, dealing in financing, structure, marketing, you name it, career development is offered under that platform.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Nice please.
Well, coming out, like I said, transitioning out, I changed majors during the course of my time at USC. I started off in engineering and then figured out, hey, I can do this, but I won't be happy. And so I wound up transitioning to business. So I tried to go to summer school and different things, but after I came out, I still had a couple of classes left. knowing that NFL stands for not for long, I'm going to have to figure something out. So I made sure, that I basically picked up those courses during the off season through, transit courses, or would be online right now. So I was able to complete that. And then coming out, when you look at my career and things that happened, my second year, and after getting cut my first year and brought back, and that really, woke me up right away. And then so the second year, when I transitioned and needed a new team, some different things happened. Timing was supposed to come into camp, and player personnel change. I mean, there's so many things that can happen in regards to your success. It's not about talent alone. There's so many different variables. And I actually was working for a car dealership. There was a gentleman who was a kind of a quote-unquote supporter of USC that lived that was in Northern California. And basically, I went back to him and I said, "Hey Bob, I need something to do. Can I sell some cars?" Well, I figured this out. And so I was able to do that for a little while and realized that, hey, I need to do something. At the same time, I was trying out for other teams and wound up pulling my hamstring right in the middle of tryouts. And I said, I'm done. I'm not going to be one of those guys trying to make the team and getting older. But fortunately, my mom was an entrepreneur. So I'd grown up in business. She had a beauty salon, a hair salon, and hair replacement salon. So I had the entrepreneur spirit in me. So I knew all along that I wanted to start a business. My goal, my hope was to get enough capital from NFL to do that. But throughout the course, like you say, you get started and you spend all your money just trying to survive and living and working out on the off season. But going back and finishing my degree was very key. It allowed me to not necessarily utilize because I wanted to be a stockbroker, but I never went in that direction. I actually got exposed to an industry called network marketing. And when I saw average individuals making above average income in this industry, I said, hold on, I can do that. And so while I was actually working with my mom and helping her expand her business, I began along the path of network marketing and distribution and got exposed to that and grew a career out of that, and actually wound up going on to start my own business, network marketing business, and 9/11 hit and different things, and that dissolved, and so I found myself in real estate until that crashed and wound up going bankrupt again. So now I'm back at the drawing board again, but I drew on relationships. Really, that's, if nothing else, understand the power of relationships wherever you are, in school, out of school, on your current job. Build relationships, because you never know where people are going to be 5 years, 10 years from now, and they may have an opportunity they'll bring to you, because in real estate and network marketing, it was the relationships that I had that people came back to me and brought the opportunity, and because of our relationship, because the integrity that you display in your relationship, people want to do business with you. So that's the main thing right there, is relationships and being able to identify an opportunity.
Hi, I'm here with Sean Strother. We wanted to talk to him about his business.
Well, right now I'm an international expansion leader for an organization called Organo Gold, and basically we utilize the network marketing platform to basically teach and show people how to start their own profitable home-based business. And so as a trainer and expansion leader, that's basically what I do, and I'm always interested in talking to other business owners and business leaders, because that's what we're doing in 38 countries. And you can see my American Nigeria pin on, really focusing a lot of my efforts this last year in Nigeria, and that new launch, and a lot of things that's happening in Africa and all over. So that's what we're doing.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for talking.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent, excellent. Lamar, you're still playing. You're still in the locker room. You're still strapping it up. You're still going out and maximizing your youth, your energy, your gifts, your talent on the field. And yet you've taken the time to create all of these various organizations that are doing so many great things. You've got youth programs and different enterprises that you've already created, and yet you're still playing the game. What motivated you to start so early to begin, investing your energy and allowing yourself to start businesses that are going to really help people and help your community the way you are?
When I went to the University of Michigan, and there was a guy named Sam Sword who went there, and he said, one thing you got to do is you have to take advantage while you're hot. You have to take advantage, like you said, using your resource. You have to take advantage while you're hot, because when you're hot, people want to talk to you. People want to have a conversation with you. So that's what I did. While I was in the limelight, I took advantage of it. And if you get to know me, I'm I'm a likable guy that I talk to anybody, and I was just taking advantage of those things. And it started back in college for me, where I was doing community stuff, because I'm big in doing stuff in the community, bringing stuff back to the community that I felt like we needed in the community. And we started a golf outing called Heroes for Kids. I was a sophomore in college. And we found a way for me and another guy that was in college at University of Michigan State to put our name on there to raise money. And we did that for 5 years, and we raised $350,000. And it went back to the Saginaw Public Schools. And I always went back and I spent my time talking, because I knew a lot of people look up to me as an athlete. And I knew they watched everything I did. Wherever I was home, whenever I went back to high school, I talked to the kids to motivate them, because I felt like other athletes and other people that came from my school should have came back and did that when I was there. So I said, when I make it to that next level, I'm gonna go back and spread the word. It's not gonna be a secret how to make it and get to the next level, whether it's academics, whether it's athletic. And once I got to the pros, it's like, it really opened the doors then, because now I got a little money in my pocket, and now I can really go back and do some things that I want to do in the community. So I started my Lamar Woodley Foundation. I did my football camps at school. I did all sorts of things where I don't really like the attention. I just like to do it. And I don't need nobody patting me on the back, because I do it from the kindness of my heart. So that just really got me going. And my wife had got her degree, and it was hanging in the house, and I said, I gotta get my degree, because I got tired of walking past her, and the kids see it. I was a little jealous. So I said, I got to get my degree. And I said, I'm going to up one on it. I start school next week and going back and get my master's degree in sports counseling and minor in sports management. And doing that, and I'm a huge basketball fan. I've had my own AAU basketball team for 3 years now. It's kind of odd, a football player having an AAU team. But I have an AAU basketball team, me and Draymond Green, who plays for the Golden State Warriors, from the same hometown. I've been mentoring him ever since been knowing the kid since he was 3 years old, and we got together and doing that. So I'm always just trying to come back and think of ideas of how to get back to the community. And even sometimes if it's just taking my dollar, because I can be sitting at home saying, we need to do that. We're gonna do that 2 weeks from now. And we just go out there and get it done, because I feel like it's important for the community. I started an event called The First Impression. I felt like the first impression is a back to school event where we give 300 kids 150 haircuts for boys, and we do 150 manicures for girls. Excellent. And we give away book bag, school supply. And I'm like, that first impression is the first impression when you go back to school. You want to feel good. And haircuts now cost you about $20, $25. Yeah. And we know a lot of parents can't afford that. So we have a sign-up sheet, but even if they show up the day of, just get in line, we get your haircut. And just for kids can have that good feeling the first day of school, going back and having everything. Because I remember when I went to school, I remember I asked the girl, hey, can I get a piece of paper? She looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, oh wow. So that was one of the things, we created that, and my PR lady, she helps out. And they the engine behind the whole thing. I'm just the face that comes up with a few ideas here and there, and they put together everything.
You're not only the face, you're also the heart behind it, too, Lamar. We just applaud that.
I really hope that we'll think about coming together, not just at these annual events. We need to really think through a plan. You're so blessed to be able to hop, skip, run, jump, and be the best in the world at what you do. And biblically speaking, whether it was the role that David played with Goliath or Samson played, athletes knew that they were that because of gifts of God. You can't just decide to run and break 10. You can't decide to jump up on fences. God is a big part of that, and that's some special obligation. On the other hand, there is this need for athletes to appreciate just how powerful you are in changing our culture.
Realized that there was a real need to help guys figure out, going back to school, what comes next. And so in addition to addressing issues as they relate to women, I address issues as they relate to the NFL, the NBA, boxing, WWE. I've had an opportunity to work with athletes on various topics. And I do come across the foundation needs and going back to school. I mean, I've had plenty of players who come through my program and whether or not they were fully prepared to do what I needed them to do to go back to school. Their wives had taken part. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter because it's the raising of the entire family. Now, my grandfather happened to have been one of the original Harlem Globetrotters. So my family's connection to sports and entertainment, you know, it's, you know, now we're coming up on 90 years and, you know, all those kind of things. So that's just what I've seen.
All the athletes around the world, whether in America or in London or wherever they are, get free agents because of Chris Flood. You know, all of them get it because Chris Flood sacrificed his whole career at the height of it. I'm not a slave, you can't sell me. And all of those who can now bargain and not be at total whim of the owner is Chris Flood. If anybody should honor Chris Flood, this should be us. We should honor the legacy of Chris Flood. The athletes who now can do the one and done out of college because they're good athletes. There's Spencer Haywood. When Will Chamberlain came out, he couldn't play in the NBA. He had to play with the Globetrotters. He couldn't play because he was not eligible to play. Well, Spencer Haywood broke the one lawsuit. Y'all with me so far?
Yes, sir.
I cannot tell you what it meant when Lou Alcindor went to play basketball. They changed the rules and you couldn't dunk anymore. Athletes just have that kind of power. And yet with that power comes a special kind of duty for those who admire you and follow you to keep high the standard. One thing we want to do, for example, law is so all of our children in first grade learn the stock market game. Just learning how there's a game that takes about 6 weeks, you really do it in 6 days. Learn what's a bear, what's a bull. Just learning this science of capital. Thinking those are beginning to get STEM education in our schools.
How are you guiding athletes to begin to think a lot more beyond the playing field than they have?
Right, well, 22 years ago, I started an organization called Transition Teams. And my background was, I was a stockbroker and sold insurance and doing financial planning for professional athletes in entertainment. And what I discovered was that I was getting more questions about, what do you think about this? You know, how?
I spent a day at the stock exchange, just spending it just in that culture for a moment. Right now, we're opening up doors in Silicon Valley. 189, top 20 companies, 189 board members, 36 white women, 3 blacks, 1 Latino. We can't wait to get the next Apple, but no blacks on the board. We can't get the next Pandora, 0, or the next Twitter, 0. I mean, these are today's fights. They're righteous fights.
It's intimidating in some ways, but it's also very exciting.
Yeah.
And so sitting here today, I've been here for as many panels as I could catch since this morning. And it's just a confirmation for me that you see people from all different walks of life that are from many, many different industries. And I'll just speak candidly, you know, I look different in this room. This conference is about minorities, women included, and it's no secret that minorities already have a strike against them in our country. And so to sit in the audience and look at some of these business leaders and to listen to what they have to say, it inspires me and encourages me, because I feel like, man, these guys are up against it, or they have been up against it, and they found a way to compete and fight and build a successful career and build a successful life. And so from where I'm sitting, it's like, hey, there's no excuse. If they can do it, I need to go ahead and attack this thing, and I can do it too. Hopefully, you know, maybe the Reverend will have me back one day and I'll be up on one of the business panels.
Excellent, excellent.
Even if you sit down among other athletes and say, man, whatever you make, divide it by 20. Because when you leave the ball, but you're going to get a radically different salary, your value in society economically drops radically. Because of that trauma, that's 80% of divorces, right? Take place just after the ball game is over because you can't bring it home. The wife don't chill like cheerleaders. Ooh, I'm a witness. My point is that to have a group of adults sit together and think through what you're about to go through. I look at those boys last night when Ohio State played Oregon, and it came out of NCAA made $5 billion. One of them called autograph his own jersey. He goes home, can't stay at school. I mean, we've gone from kicking cotton balls to kicking footballs, basketballs, and nothing has fundamentally changed. And one thing I want us to think about when we do get together with this meeting is that I was watching one of the Bulls games one night, and it's why can't an athlete, if you are Chicago, why can't you invest your money in the industry of basketball itself?
That's right.
I can see if you're a Bull, you cannot invest in the Bulls team. I can understand that's a management issue. If you're a Bull, you can't invest in the Knicks. You'll come to visit. Why can't you invest in NBA Inc.?
Pretty much without compensation. So how can you now monetize that whole social network space, and it's specifically done with customization on products, perks, based on high-end celebrities. And, in saying that, it opens up a whole nother world to be able to now circulate those funds back to where they need to go. So doing that journey in itself, transition, it wasn't easy. Sometimes you get knocked down and you get back up and try again. And, to be able to connect the dots of sports, athletics, political leaders, social organizations, that's the only way we'll make true change, and that's what we've done thus far.
Often, we don't think about what happens to athletes after the game, after the cheering stops. The Wall Street Project Economic Summit dealt with those issues. And we find that many of them are just like us, starting their own businesses, starting their own organizations, and dealing with the same concerns that we have with our businesses every day. Tune in next time for another episode of America's Enterprise.